Coming up on ECG, we get our first glimpse at the Warcraft movie, and it looks awesome.
Nicole Kidman to be a wonderful queen.
AMC is the king of cable TV with The Walking Dead and Preacher.
Our first thoughts on BlizzCon announcements. On the BlizzCon announcements. I didn't read it all the way.
Learn to read. All this and more coming up on the East Coast Geek Podcast. Welcome to episode 44 of the East Coast Geek Podcast for Friday, November 6th, 2015, where we bring you the latest news on comics, movies, and gaming. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me, as always, is Opu. How you doing, buddy?
Hey there. I'd be doing a lot better if I learned how to read good, I guess.
Yeah, and stop cracking pops in the middle of the intro.
I'm thirsty. I've got to stay hydrated for the show. It's exhausting.
I remember when we started this, you started drinking water more.
yeah, I did. But then I got to take pee-pee breaks and stuff, so I can't do that anymore.
Hey, I hate to tell you, but those sodas are going to do the same thing. All right. So, you've not been up too much, just biding your time before the big release on Tuesday, huh?
Oh, my goodness. This has been so hard because, I've been wanting to play so many games. I finally finished Alien Isolation, which was great, aside from the padding. And there's all these other games I've been wanting to play, but I've been having to hold off just so I can be able to afford Fallout 4, even though I've got it pre-ordered. It hasn't come out of my bank account yet. So I'm like, I can't buy stuff like food and stuff. So.
And that should be really soon. They may charge you tomorrow or Monday. But
yeah.
Did you get same day shipping or?
I gotta check that. That's what I meant to check earlier. Okay, so yeah.
Otherwise you may get it Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, I can't do that. With Amazon, they're usually pretty good about doing, if it's like a new release or you've pre-ordered it or whatever, really giving it to you that day. GameStop is not, though.
Yeah, well, supposedly everybody around the internet, except for me, gets stuff like 3 days before they're supposed to from Amazon and stuff like that. So
Amazon's been weird lately. I ordered something the other day. I ordered actually, I'll show you. One Punch Man, the manga, because I've watched anime so far, and panty and stocking with garter belt. I bought those two. I ordered them on a whim one night, and the next day they were there. And I've got 2 days shipping on everything.
Yeah.
But for it to show up on the very next day, it's just unreal for me.
Yeah. So I had one thing that was cutting me this week. I sat down and was catching up on one of the shows I missed this past weekend, and that was Quantico. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's relatively new. It's about FBI trainees that there's an event that happens right at the beginning of the show, and then you get nothing but not nothing but like a coincidental, because it relates to the story in the future. They do flashbacks to when they were in the academy and stuff like that. Really neat, really well done. I have to go back and listen to the first few episodes because I don't remember them doing this in the first episode or two. And that is the "My Name Is" trope.
Oh my God.
It works for certain things. Like one of the best intros that you could ever ask for a "My Name Is" trope. And if anybody doesn't know, here's the perfect example. Every time Jason Lee finishes his intro into the episode of My Name Is Earl, he says, "My name is Earl." That's exactly what I'm talking about. And for this, it's my name is whatever the main chick's name is. That's how invested I'm in this show. I don't remember what her name is. Doesn't matter. She's a pretty face, and that's all that matters. I didn't realize that it is all over the place because you have "My Name is Oliver Queen" and "My name is what's his face."
Barry Allen.
Barry Allen, thank you.
I'm the fastest man alive.
Yeah.
With the exception of Reverse Flash and Zoom, apparently. But
I don't think that all these other shows should really be using it. I can accept the comic book thing because that was kind of their thing. They kind of made that, right?
I guess kind of they did. Supergirl uses it as well.
Ugh. You're talking about the TV show, or are you talking about the comic books?
I'm talking about the TV show. I don't like that trope. With My Name Is Earl is an exception because that's the name of the show.
Right.
That's the title drop.
Right.
So that one made sense. But
what was
all these other ones, you don't need it.
What was even funnier was when he was doing the jail episodes, he just said, "My name is inmate number," whatever the number was. That was great. That was a good play on that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, they know they're making fun of that trope, which is acceptable. But when these guys like use it as the "my name is," and for the last few weeks I've been on the run because whatever, it's like, come on. We don't need that every episode. I would have accepted the first episode so we knew what was going on. Or the second episode if that was the big reveal for what actually happened in the present day. So
Well, I guess what they're doing is that they're using it as like a badass boast kind of way, like with Flash being the fastest man alive, kind of introduction.
But
But they think that not only our viewers are morons, be like, well, I don't remember who's the main character of the show called The Flash. What's his name? But they also are trying to say, well, just in case you haven't seen the show, well, it's like a lazy way of introducing everybody or introducing your main character. But
it's not working. I can't remember that chick's name to save my life. I
Yeah.
don't know what her name is. I don't actually know what any of the characters' name are in Quantico. That's the weird thing is I can't remember that.
is it a
stuff.
good show?
It is a very well done show. I really enjoy it.
Then they must be having a problem. If you can't remember the character's name,
It might just be me. It
could be just you.
me, man. My brain's fried from.
Too many video games.
Yeah, no, that's not it because I can remember that shit. I know those guys' names. All right, so why don't you go ahead with your stuff here, and I'll bring up a picture here.
Okay, well, yeah, like I said, I've been watching anime, so my first one I'll talk about is One Punch Man. The best way I've been able to sum it up for some people, it's almost like the Japanese version of The Tick. If you ever watched that cartoon show or the comic book, he's like the most powerful person on the planet. Stronger than anybody. But the difference is while The Tick was just Looney Tunes out there, this guy is like so frustrated that victory is boring for him that he hasn't met somebody that can survive more than one punch against him. And it's really a good deconstruction of the shonen genre, like Dragon Ball Z, Full Metal Alchemist, Naruto, One Piece. They're all about getting stronger, getting more powerful. Well, this character has started off at level 100.
Yeah.
Nobody can handle him. So,
well, that video.
So it's a.
I was gonna say that video that you sent me before the show was a really good example of it. I think you should actually post that on the page and explain, hey, this is One Punch, and this is exactly what we were talking about.
Now I watched the anime first, and I have to say this is some of the best animation for any show I've seen, like ever. I don't know how they got this kind of budget because it started off as a web comic, a goofy web comic, then it became a manga, like right here, and then it became this anime. It's only 5 episodes in, so it's a great time to jump in on the series before the full storyline starts.
Well, yeah, everything's great in that anime except for the drawing of him. He's so plain.
It's on purpose.
Oh, I understand. He's supposed to be boring because he's bored.
Yeah,
and that's a great usage of that art style for that.
Yeah, and when people are like, "How did you become this powerful?" They see what he can do. Like he destroys mountain ranges with that fake punch he did. In the scene I showed you. Yeah, he wasn't even trying. And that he destroyed a mountain range and split the clouds and everything. And I'm not going to spoil what his training regimen was, but it shocks everybody. It's like there's no way you got that powerful from doing this. So definitely check it out. It's fun. Kind of violent, but it's like over the top violence when he fights somebody. I mean, he disintegrates their bodies half the time.
Oh, great!
So it's not just like it's not a punch and knocking out. It's like he punches, he obliterates them, and then he obliterates whatever's behind him.
Is there translated versions of the show, or am I forced
not yet? It's all subtitled right now. Like I said, it's only 5 episodes in.
I have to watch a book. You're showing
you
me
gotta watch a book. But I'm telling you, and it's worth repeated watching because there's sometimes I lost the dialogue because I was watching the fight scenes and the animation because it's absolutely just gorgeous.
Sounds like somebody needs to learn Japanese.
That would be easier for me. But I can barely speak English apparently with this southern drawl I've got. But the next one I'll talk about real quick is panty and stocking with garter belt. Now, this is not safe for kids. So I know it looks like bright and colorful, but don't watch this with your kids, definitely. It's about two fallen angels that have to buy their way back into heaven. And they have to work with this preacher named Garterbelt, who has some kind of divine purpose for them. But they really don't care. They just want to get back. Panty is the blonde one, and she is promiscuous, to say the least. While her sister, Stocking, is obsessed with sweets, so she's a glutton. So it's kind of like a play on the sins, but they're supposed to be angels. The villains are sometimes nicer than they are.
Great.
Another incredibly well animated show. It actually, instead of using one specific animation style, it uses a bunch of different ones. There's even references to South Park, Invader Zim, all kinds of stuff in this show. It's basically a massive love letter to Western animation from Japanese animators and writers.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a great show. It's absolutely hilarious. The first two episodes are free on YouTube under Funimation, and that's dubbed, so you can listen to it.
Yay. Because I'm lazy. And I need to learn to speak Japanese again, too. I did
they have such... What?
I did 2 semesters in college. I can't remember all of it. I can pick up some, but...
So you know the word for brother and idiot, right? Nissan?
Oh, yeah.
Baka! Yeah, kind of, whatever.
All right. Next thing we got, I want this picture to stay up the whole show, but I know that's not gonna happen.
Wouldn't it? Oh,
Disney retiring Slave Leia merch, huh?
Yeah, this is kind of a rumor, but the thing is there's the story came from Facebook comments from a Marvel Comics artist, J. Scott Campbell. He recently claimed that there's a mandate to avoid the costume in a company's depiction of Leia. And even, strangely enough, that artists are being advised to avoid depicting Leia in sexualized poses.
Well, she is getting a little older now, and now
she's still very attractive.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised how attractive she still is. But here's the thing. So I went and I had to go and order me a Funko of Slave Leia. So if you want any Slave Leia merch, you might need to go ahead and buy it up. You got the Jabba the Hutt one?
I got the one with Jabba the Hutt, so
I got it too.
Yeah.
See, I need to get that one too.
Yeah, but you get oh god, you get Salacious B. Crumb with that too, and Jabba. Oh, so yeah, it's a 3-pack.
Oh
man.
yeah, the thing with the
the little rodent thing.
That's totally a deal.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Especially since Jabba's like bigger than both of those 2 smaller ones together. So.
Yeah, he's like one of those their big boy designs.
I'm not putting him back on the shelf. There we go. He's big.
Wow, he is big.
All right, you want to?
So well, real quick, I was just it's weird that they're doing this because I guess they're saying that it's it's anti-women or sexist to have her in that, but. The reason she got into that outfit, I loved him. The reason she got into that outfit was because she got captured because she was trying to save the love of her life. And she was even going so far as to use like a thermonuclear detonator to, get close. Which those are really powerful explosives.
They'll hurt.
Yeah. And so she ended up getting captured. And even when she got captured, she was still planning on escaping and ended up choking Jabba to death. Yeah. How badass is that as a character? She doesn't have any force powers.
With the chain she was hooked to him with.
With the chain she was hooked to him with, she choked him out, and she did that with her own, she didn't have her enhanced force abilities, or, she wasn't a Wookiee. She did it herself. She probably could have escaped if Luke hadn't showed up. I'm sure she would have been able to take them all out herself eventually. She just had to wait for the right opportunity. So, whatever with that. But we do have some good news.
Hold on. One little tip for you kids out there. Go Google the original Jabba the Hutt. It was a dude. All right. Before they put that terrible reanimation over the top of the scene from the episode 4. So, all right, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, so there was a trend out. I don't know the hashtag off the top of my head. But there's this dying Star Wars fan, Daniel Fleetwood. Unfortunately, he has a spinal cell sarcoma, a very rare connective tissue cancer. And he was diagnosed in July with only 2 or 3 months to live. So he was trying to contact Disney, J.J. Abrams, whoever, to see if he could see the new Star Wars film early because he's not going to make it. Hopefully he makes it, but something happens. And there was this massive petition online. Everybody was tweeting this hashtag, thousands did, apparently. Even Mark Hamill, Peter Mayhew, and John
Boyega.
Boyega retweeted, oh, there it is, Force for Daniel to show their support. So J.J. Abrams got in touch with him and showed him an uncut version. I guess, not the finalized version, but he did get to view it with a couple of his close family members. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And, we make fun of JJ for his lens flare obsession, but this isn't the first time he's done it. He actually had showed a dying fan Star Trek Into Darkness before they passed away, and unfortunately they passed away 2 days later.
Oh.
So
well, at least I got to see that, though. That was really, really generous of him.
Yeah, and Disney in general, I guess Pixar has done this before too. They showed, which one did they show? They showed one to a dying fan. Incredibles or something like that. I remember them showing, or it might have been one of the Toy Stories. They showed a dying fan, one of theirs, and they actually came out and they gave her tons of merchandise. So I like hearing these kind of stories.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move into the comic section here. The first one is interesting. Dan Slott, writer of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
what?
This hasn't been reported on much, which I'm going to get into. But you want to go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, Dan Slott, writer of Spider-Man, here pictured on the stream here, attacks charity runner.
Yeah, there's this YouTuber out there called The Event, his show's called The Main Event or whatever. And he does a lot of charity runs. He does some in Philadelphia and stuff like that. But he was flying out to do a 3-day marathon type of running event. It was sponsored by Disney and Marvel, funny enough. And on his Twitter, he was he posted 3 pictures of shirts. He posted a Flash picture, he posted a classic Spider-Man, and he posted another Spider-Man shirt. He probably just grabbed them at random. It was Superior Spider-Man. And asked fans to vote on it. Within minutes, Slott supposedly starts mocking the runner that he had picked a Superior Spider-Man shirt because 2 years ago, this same guy was critical of his Superior Spider-Man writing, which, as we all know, it was the controversial story arc where Doc Ock takes over Peter Parker's body and leaves Peter Parker to die in his dying body and ends up becoming this horrible person, killing people, basically being a rapist. And some people like it. I didn't like it because it was an interesting idea, but it wasn't put together well like it needed to be, and the ending was rushed and all. So, anyways, that's beside the point. So, a couple of things. Apparently Slott ignored the fact that it was a fan vote and that nobody picked Superior Spider-Man. They all picked the Flash because, well, it's a running event, right?
Right.
And I guess he put the Spider-Man shirts up in case Marvel said no to any DC type of items there. But I don't think they would really care with it being a charity event.
Right.
And yeah, so the reason for him attacking was because the guy had criticized Superior Spider-Man. And this isn't the first time Dan Slott's done this before. He has attacked another blogger who does comic reviews. Douglas Ernst is his name. He does some political commentary as well, but he also talks on comic books. So really, that's the main blogs I read is his comic reviews because I can't afford everything. So it's nice to read other people's opinions.
Right.
And he has even tried to sick his Twitter fans, which he has thousands of these, on an innocent woman who posted that she read a wiki article on Superior Spider-Man and that it seemed weird. She didn't even know about it, and he found this tweet and starts mocking her. So, and funny enough, Slott is also, he's constantly quoted that he wants to get rid of harassment online, but he goes out and attacks innocent Twitter fans. He attacks people that are trying to run for charities. He's attacked people online on various forums and sent fans on them and gotten them banned and deleted. It's really unprofessional to see a comic book writer writing like this. And I understand, criticism's tough, especially when you have hundreds of thousands of people criticizing your work. I can't even take my wife criticizing me on one thing. I go and start crying in my bathroom.
Yeah.
So I can understand the frustration there, but also you still have to have that professional level, and you have to know that kids also read stuff like Spider-Man. And guess what? Spider-Man was constantly bullied as in high school and shit, and he still was able to turn the other cheek. He could have ripped that the building down upon their heads with a fraction of his strength, but he knew better than that.
Right.
And sometimes you've got to look to your characters for that kind of inspiration, and one person out of 10 people might say, "Hey, I really like what you do." You've got to listen to that one person and kind of try to ignore the other 9 people saying your stuff's crap.
Right.
With the exception that they're saying some constructive stuff like, "Hey, maybe
cut back on the
you
rate."
should think of yeah. So Dan Slott's just online persona. I've never seen another writer do something quite like this, especially not a comic book writer. He's not the only one that's controversial. Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah.
Look what he just did with Iceman, and he made him come out as gay for no reason, really. There was no build up to that.
Yeah.
But I don't see him going online and saying that people are stupid for not agreeing with him and not praising him constantly. So and just a warning, if you go find event status on YouTube, which is the main events page, I listen to it. He's got some good ideas, but his language is a little harsh. We try to keep it PG at least. Yeah. His is a little more intense than that, especially when he gets riled up. But he's a good guy. He seems like he's a good guy, I guess. I've only watched like 3 videos so far, so I apologize if he's watching and I got your name wrong. But right. I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't stand to see that kind of bullying from a celebrity like that.
Yeah, no kidding. And she only made an off comment, so it's like it was a very uninformed comment, and she said she read it off the wiki, and it's like, well, you can't always believe what you read on the internet, right?
Yeah, it was a plot synopsis, and it does sound weird,
That's not true.
It's a weird premise.
That's not true. We're always telling the truth here. No. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next. Nicole Kidman in Wonder Woman.
Yeah, this one really surprised me. But according to The Wrap, Nicole Kidman is currently in ongoing negotiations to join Warner Brothers' DC Comics-based film as a high-ranking Amazonian warrior. Warner Brothers has declined to comment on The Wrap's article.
She still looks all right.
She's aged pretty well, too, in my opinion. Kidman may be playing Hippolyta.
It's probably Hippolyta.
Hippolyta, there you go. Wonder Woman's mother in DC Comics lore. Although it's unclear at this point if she even exists in this version of Wonder Woman's history.
Oh, great.
So, which would be weird. She needs her mother. She's a very strong character in the Woman Wonder lore, and we'd all appreciate to see her.
Nicole Kidman's no stranger to acting in superhero movies, though, right?
No, she's not. She was in Batman Forever. She was Dr. Chase Meridian, and she was very attractive in that movie. And she's won an Academy Award for Best Actress in a leading role for the 2002 film The Hours, which I'd never even seen. So
yeah,
have you seen it?
No. Hey, was that the which one? Which Batman was that? Was that the George Clooney one?
That was the Val Kilmer one with Riddler and Two-Face.
Ugh.
Yes, that's right.
Hey,
the George
Two-Face.
Clooney one
Two-Face was fine. The Riddler, I don't know.
I don't know. It obviously doesn't. It doesn't stand up nowhere near to Batman and Batman Returns.
Yeah.
It's like the middle child. It's quirky, but then it's got some really not cool stuff. Okay, it's bad. I'm thinking Chris O'Donnell's Robin was terrible. Val Kilmer didn't do bad. Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face was over the top. I mean, Jim Carrey is just Jim Carrey. So what were you expecting him to be as the Riddler?
Well, he was green in the mask. We can throw him in a green uniform and call him the Riddler. There you
Yeah. Well,
go. Hey, you know what? Hey,
what?
listen. If you're looking for, well, I guess this is my personal opinion, but I think my favorite my favorite form of Edward Nygma right now is probably the one that's on Gotham. Very, very interesting for the role that he's playing, but very awkward. But he really came into his own at the end of the first season, so
I still haven't watched
you need to watch it.
Gotham. I hear so many mixed reviews about it.
Well, just go into it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I should just form my own opinion about it. And the
I
first season's on Netflix. When I get some, I won't have a day off until Wednesday, and that's a maybe.
yeah.
So,
Between that and the guy that plays the Riddler's voice on the Batman Arkham series, I like his voicing of the Riddler too. So
I wonder if he's the same one that did it in the cartoon in the 90s.
we'd have to look it up. But
If you want to look that up real quick or not, I'll finish this up real quick.
my third favorite.
Your third favorite?
My third favorite is Frank Gorshin from the old Batman series.
Oh, the 60s?
Yes.
I don't remember his that well. Of course, I haven't watched that. I don't remember the last time I've watched that. The last thing I even saw about it was I was watching the Space Ghost interview of Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago. Not that long. 5 years ago. Maybe I watched that episode again. It was a great episode, though. And Eartha Kitt was just, wow. Even like, I don't know what I'm up with older women now, but she had just that voice. She could do that little purr thing.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, go ahead and finish that up then.
Okay. Well,
almost there.
She could potentially be. They're saying it now as only on Warrior, but she could play some other characters potentially. I mean, there's Cersei, that a goddess that Wonder Woman's faced off with multiple times. Though there's the potential there for it to seem too much like Thor and Loki back and forth.
Yeah.
There's a few other characters like Paula von Gunther, who was like a Nazi spy master, I believe. So that might be a little too much like Red Skull and Captain America. And then what?
I was gonna say I'm still waiting for Red Skull to come back.
Yeah. It might be in Civil War too, in fact. And then there's the Cheetah, which I don't really like her as a villain. It just seems weird that you're putting a Greek character up against a cheetah.
Yeah, yeah.
A savannah dwelling animal woman.
Yeah.
Even though they've ramped up her powers a little bit more, so because currently Wonder Woman has taken over the role of the God of War.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, she's pretty much a god nowadays in the DC comics. She took over for Ares when I think she murdered him.
All right. You want to go ahead and take the last one here?
Yeah. Guys, more unfortunate news. George Barris, designer of the iconic 1966 Batmobile, has passed away. He passed away Thursday morning, I believe, at 89 in his home. Here's a quote from his son. He was surrounded by his family in the comfort of his home, Brett Barris wrote on Facebook. He lived his life the way he wanted till the end. He would want everyone to celebrate the passion he had for life and for what he created for all to enjoy. He is considered the king of the customizers. That's customizers with a K. Barris and his older brother Sam began customizing cars at an early age, beginning with a 1925 Buick given to them by their family. They never looked back, learning about bodywork by hanging out at body shops in Sacramento, California after school. George Barris built and supplied cars for featured films and television series ranging from North by Northwest and The Time Machine to The Munsters and the Beverly Hillbillies. But he is best known for the Batmobile from the 1966 Batman television series.
Man, the Munsters, and I think I'd have to look at the picture of it, but I think the Munsters and the Beverly Hillbillies is pretty close.
I really like the Monsters one. It's like the modified Hearst thing, I think.
Oh,
with
yeah.
that hot rod type of engine. Yeah. I really like that
The
one.
Munster coach. Yeah, I should have pulled a picture of that. That's neat looking.
I should have too, but if I have a problem with pulling too many pictures for these things. If I
Yeah,
could, I'd pull like 15
600,
pictures per article.
600 pictures.
I like pictures; they're pretty.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the movies.
Well, I
Or
want
you
to give
got
a
more?
really quick piece of
Oh,
trivia.
okay.
He bought that 1955 Lincoln Futura concept car from Ford for $1, and then transformed it into the Batmobile in just 15 days with a budget of
That was
$15,000.
a lot of money back then.
Well, and it's worth a lot of money now. It's available for purchase again for $5 million. So
I don't
if you
have
guys
that
got
much
$5
money.
million laying around,
It's such a neat looking car, though. I love that Batmobile. It's funny
yeah,
too that I
with
was just
like
talking
the
about
red
that.
highlights on it.
Yeah, yeah, it looks great. Yeah, it looks awesome. All right, now can we move on?
Yes,
All
I'll
right,
give you
let's
permission to move on. I'm
let's get
sorry.
into this. We got a bunch in this one, so. One of these days I'll get around to leveling that properly instead of having to turn the volume down as midway through. All right. So many Power Rangers. So many
Yes,
Mighty
I
Morphin
really should
Power
have went
Rangers,
back
huh?
and fixed that title.
No, it's all good, man. So singer-songwriter Becky Gomez, pictured here on the stream, has joined the Lionsgate Power Ranger film as the Yellow Ranger. The studio announced via the film's official Instagram account. They have an Instagram account. Awesome.
Everything has an Instagram account.
It's
Except
kind of
for
like
us.
there's an app for that. Now there's an Instagram for that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Though known primarily as a singer, she has appeared in 2 episodes of Empire, which is a show about musical artists.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's kind of like, random singer showing up on a show because their contract was up in Empire or something. She will join recently cast Dacre Montgomery. Is Dacre? Is that how you pronounce it?
Or Dockery.
Dacre Montgomery as the Red Ranger.
It could be Darcy.
Yeah, whatever. It's weird looking. It's difficult. It's Dacre.
Yeah.
Naomi Scott as the Pink Ranger. Ludi Lin as the Black Ranger. And R.J. Seiler as the Blue Ranger. And I noticed that they changed up the 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 old race-assigned coloring for the Power Rangers.
Yeah, in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You remember that, right?
Yeah, Trini was the Yellow Ranger.
And Zach was
Zach
the
was the
Black
Black
Ranger.
And I was like, why?
The thing is, I never realized that till I got older. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's because he always wears black.
Yeah.
And she's
right.
wearing yellow all the time.
Yeah.
Just the other ones are wearing their colors all the time, so it makes sense. And him in his Hammer pants.
Yeah.
But yeah. So they changed it up, and didn't they do that? They had him as the Black Ranger in the and that gritty reboot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So they changed that up. Yeah, they changed it up with the movie. I think that's when they started to change it up because that's when they had the black chick as the Yellow Ranger, and they made what's his face I guess that Asian. I don't know if he was Asian or not as the Black Ranger. Remember he had the frog symbol.
No, I didn't. I don't think I went that far, man. I think at a certain point I stopped watching Power Rangers and watched more VR Troopers. I don't know if you remember that one.
I remember VR Troopers. Do you remember the Super Samurai Cyber Squad?
That's the one where they were always fighting against giant beetles and stuff, right?
No, that was the big bad Beetle Boys. I think you're talking about. They were the heroes.
Were there that many freaking hero shows like that back then?
What about Tattooed Teenage Aliens from Outer Space or whatever it was?
God.
You remember that one?
No.
That was a thing too.
Oh my god. It must have been a regional thing. I don't even remember seeing that.
Man, they were all great.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't. Big Bad Beetle Boys had a ghost genie that looked like Jay Leno on it.
God.
Yeah.
Well, according to earlier reports, Lionsgate Power Ranger film will follow the events of the Power Rangers Dino Charge. Logo pictured. The most recent version of the television show. The Dino Charge characters will appear in opening sequence Additionally, the film will shoot in Vancouver from January to April 2016 and feature Scorpina, the ruthless
Uh-huh.
and dangerous minion of Rita Repulsa, as an antagonist. So is Rita going to be in it, or is it just going to be Scorpina?
I don't know. Maybe it
Oh,
starts out with Scorpina, and then the sequel hook is that Rita shows up,
it's like
and
the
it.
it's like the Rhino in the second Amazing Spider-Man movie.
Well, not like that. I mean,
Oh, okay.
an actual well done sequel hook, not like
Oh,
that
okay.
was terrible. Don't cut out in the middle. No, if they want to do this sequel hook well, and Rita doesn't show up to the end, it better be that Scorpina has gotten away. She didn't explode or whatever, and she got to the moon,
You
and
remember this?
she found the trash can, and she opens it up, and Rita pops out, and she's like, "Ah! After 10,000 years, I'm free.
Yeah.
Time to conquer Earth." And that should be the end. That's the sequel hook right there.
You
If they
remember?
don't do that, I'm going to be furious.
You remember how the bad guys used to die in a firework explosion?
Yes, I loved it. It was great.
I need more putties in my
Best-
life.
Oh, the putties!
Yeah.
I love the putties.
Guilty
And then
pleasures of my childhood.
it shouldn't be a guilty pleasure. My guilty pleasure was Barney, and that's because my brother liked it. I think.
And that shows you the age difference. That was after me. All right. It is also confirmed the characters will be using the names of the original characters. The Power Rangers is set to arrive January 13th, 2017. Wow, that's way out there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. After seeing that gritty reboot, we have the comics coming out and stuff. So I had to keep the Power Rangers in there. I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how the comic books go too. I thought the art was really nice, though, especially that picture we had up on there of the red
That
Ranger.
cover with
yeah,
the
yeah, it was
helmet?
awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome. All right, go ahead and take the next one. Actually,
Okay.
these two will tie together. So,
Yep, actually, it's very good. So the AMC has released a Preacher trailer. The trailer didn't seem to reveal much. It was mostly of a kid coming to the preacher and asking him to hurt his father. It felt more like another teaser than a real trailer. I mean, it had some
Yeah.
action in there and stuff. And I actually had to double check to make sure they were actually basing this off the comic, because the trailer looked like he was more like a retired badass turned preacher or something, like some kind of rogue cowboy or a super assassin, whatever.
right.
While the Preacher comic book has a lot of supernatural stuff. In the comic, it's about a man that gets this being inside of him called Genesis that has more power than God. And they go on a road trip to try to find God, who has run away from heaven. So while that's more or less the plot of the comic, there's a lot of characters in it that I can't describe right now. After seeing how much The Walking Dead, which we've had this argument several times, is based on the comic, I'm not confident on how loyal they're going to be to the storyline and whatnot.
Do you know if I didn't dig. I should have, because I should have anticipated me thinking of this question, which would have required me to think ahead. Is the guy or the people that wrote the comic book involved, like Robert
Garth-
Kirkman is?
I don't know how extensive they are involved into it.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I think I saw him listed maybe as producer or something.
Okay.
I don't know if he's a writer or anything. I should have anticipated that as well and looked it up. But that usually doesn't mean much anymore,
Well, I mean, you always tell me that Kirkman has nothing to do with Walking Dead, but I think there are different levels of producers, and some of them want to be hands-on, some of them don't.
Yeah.
And he's been on that Talking Dead show that usually follows The Walking Dead, the one that was hosted by what's his face, the Talk Soup guy. What's his name? You know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You people know what I'm talking about. He's been on there quite a few times, so and has expressed that he is actually involved in it. So
Okay, well, I mean, he could be, or
I'll get video evidence because you don't believe me. But
I know I believe you. I'm just saying that he could say that, but if he's, I don't know, they say stuff. I want to give me some behind the scenes footage saying, yeah, it's okay to cut this plot, or yeah, the way this character was actually competent in the comics, we're going to make him incompetent. That's totally okay. There's no excuse for that. Glenn was my favorite character, and they turned him into such a doofus in season 1.
Who?
When he was like Glenn,
Oh yeah, he
he
changes.
was he was such no he was. But the thing is, he was in the comics. He was the one going and getting the supplies for people. He
Well,
was
that's what he was doing. That's what he was doing in the first season, though.
no, he wasn't doing it very well. He got Rick ended up having to save his butt, and he was the one coming up with all these new ideas and plots and stuff. So
Listen,
he was a,
we'll record everything that happens to you in the zombie apocalypse, and we'll see if you can keep up.
listen. I didn't say I'd be good at
Hey,
it.
every now and then, somebody slips. And in relation to that, AMC has renewed The Walking Dead for a 7th season. Not to let stars one-up them in quick renewals, AMC has renewed their popular series just a few episodes into the 6th season. Kind of a given, especially with the number of people that watch, the popularity of the show. The Hollywood Reporter has word of renewal and notes that 16 episode 7th season would see Kirkman created zombie drama past Mad Men.
As AMC's longest running original series. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, that's crazy. Not as crazy as Rick got at one point. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying the show. I don't care what you say. You can't dampen my spirits.
Listen, I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade.
But I also pimped the comics to somebody the other day. One of my coworkers asked about the comics, and I said, "Yeah, the comics vary." And the reason why it came up was something that happened on the current or last week's episode, which
the one everybody freaked out about.
Don't say anything else. We don't do
I won't
spoilers
say
on
anything.
here. We'll talk about that later. I haven't even seen the episode yet, but I pretty much
really?
knew it was coming because we talked about it before the season started. So, but anyways, yeah. I told him, I said, listen, you want to see what the comic books were like. You go out, you go to like Barnes and Noble, or you go on Amazon and you order yourself a copy of the omnibus, or the volumes.
Yeah, the trade paperbacks.
The trade paperbacks or whatever. Yeah, the collections, and I think the first one's like 1,090 some pages.
Yeah, if you get the omnibus now, the omnibus is the big ones. Now there's thinner ones, the trade paperbacks that are like this, that only collect like 6 to 9 issues, if that. It depends.
Yeah. And I think it was actually volume 1 through 50 in the first one. So
yeah,
and then 51 to 100 on the next one. But anyways, yeah. So I am spreading the good word about the comics too, saying that yes, it's different, but some of the main things that happened in the comics will continue to happen. I mean, I know you're upset. This is not a spoiler because this should have happened a long time ago. But in the comic books, Rick eventually loses a hand. But that you said that was back in the prison, right?
Yeah, that was when he first met the governor.
Okay, so that's just an example of one of those differences, and you should pick up those comic books because those are supposedly pretty good comic books. I haven't actually read any. That one that's hanging on the wall behind me, I never opened it. I just put it in.
He's a faker. Everybody, don't listen to him.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, it is up there. Yeah, that bottom left one there. Anyways, so the last thing, though it slipped in some benchmarks from last season, with Live Plus 3 DVR numbers factored in, this month's season 6 premiere attracted 19.5 million total viewers and 12.9 million in the key demographic at 18 to 49. So
those are really impressive numbers.
It is.
Just to compare, that they were talking about the Supergirl premiere had like 5 or 6 million, and they were, I don't remember the number, but they were like outstanding numbers.
Supposedly,
better than anything.
Supposedly that was a great pilot.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, and
it was terrible.
It dipped like 33% of viewership within the next episode. So, which it usually happens, but it wasn't that good.
All right, go ahead and take the next one.
So this. We talk about reboots a lot. Well, Star Trek is now getting a reboot. Deadline has reported that Alex Kurtzman will oversee development of the project for CBS TV Studios and serve as executive producer. CBS Television Studios has released a statement announcing the new Star Trek series will debut January 2017. Geez, a lot for 2017. Beginning with a preview on CBS. The new program will be the first original series developed specifically for U.S. audiences for CBS All Access, a cross platform streaming service that brings viewers thousands of episodes from CBS's current and past seasons on demand, plus the ability to stream their local CBS television station live for $5.99 per month. You seem like you got something you want to say there?
I was just thinking about back in the day when I said I wish everything was available on the internet and that I could get rid of cable, and now I'm having my cake in small slices because everything's fragmented.
It's getting there. You know, it's like a baby steps. You know?
So I heard on another show they were talking about this, and I thought it was a great idea, and I wonder if it's built into there because I don't see it in the notes here. CBS owns the rights to the TV show only. And they have a deal with Netflix where their shows get shown on Netflix. So all the Star Treks are on there right now. And apparently that was the reason why it took so long for them to get around to announce the TV series again. Was after some dispute they were arguing over with who owns the rights to the movies? Is it Paramount or whoever?
I think it's Paramount.
They finally settled their argument, and they're free and clear and have complete rights to the TV series only. So they got what they wanted out of the deal, and now they're finally able to do this, which is a good thing. I mean, that's what they were going for, and that's what people want. I don't know if this was the greatest idea to limit it to CBS All Access online only. That preview is supposedly only going to be the first episode is going to be available on the TV channel. While I understand that a lot of people, there are a bunch of people like me that have totally gotten rid of cable. There are not enough of me to justify putting it straight on your personal streaming service. If they said, "Oh yeah, we got to deal with Netflix right away," then people would be all right with it. But that's not the case yet. So,
well, you know, and that's a good point. Is that especially with CBS and. Sorry if I offend anybody, but I've always considered that like the old people's network. You know, the older audiences watch CBS a lot.
You need to.
I don't know. That's just the way I've always viewed it.
You need to watch Person of Interest. It's in its entirety on Netflix now, so it'll be one that you can add to your list. But
my ever-growing list of stuff I'll never get around to.
That was a good show, but yeah, I can understand what you're saying, especially since it was like channel 62 on the local dials back home.
Oh my God, that's where I'm pulling it from is watching my grandparents
2, 4, 7, and 62.
Yeah.
And then 15 I
think ours was 3, 5, 7, and 12. That was ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Fox too. Well, I said 2 for us, 2, 4, and 7, and then I think it was 15 or 20 when UPN came on the scene, and then crash and burned. So yeah, but anyways, I think they're seriously limiting their audience. The flip side to that is they're about to make a ton of money because there are some crazy Star Trek fans out there. They will pay the $5.99 to watch. They may not keep the subscription, but at least those first few months when that comes out, they'll last. So
yeah, definitely. Star Trek is big. Star Trek is huge. You know, it's like the two big audiences out there are Star Wars and Star Trek, really. You know,
right.
And everything just circles around them as their constellations. Even comic books, you know. So I see them making a lot of money, like you said, really quickly. I don't know how their streaming service is going to be overall.
Right.
So yeah. Well, anyways, let's finish this one up.
Yeah, go ahead and finish.
Is that the brand new series Star Trek will introduce new characters seeking imaginative new worlds and new civilizations while exploring the dramatic contemporary themes that have been a signature of the franchise since its inception in 1966. Now that strikes me as interesting because we remember that Star Trek had the first interracial kiss, right?
Right.
Between Kirk and Uhura.
Yep.
So, and that's going to be hard to equal, really. I feel personally, because
Yeah, well, and then in the new movie, Kirk was making out with that green chick.
yeah, but I mean, that's a given.
Right?
Green chicks are okay, right? It's
Twi'leks and whatever she was in Star Trek. So
yeah. I mean, who hasn't liked the Twi'leks in
right.
Star Wars as well? So yeah, so I'm interested on how they're going to push the boundaries on this with this new series, and I'm wondering about the new characters because do we want to see a TV version of Spock and Kirk again
So
and all
well,
the others?
so supposedly some of the other stuff that I gleaned from some of the other shows I've listened to, they've said stuff like it will be NCC 1701, so it will be the Enterprise, but it'll be a new crew. It may be a little bit further in the future or something like that, but supposedly they are going to focus on the Enterprise again. I mean, that's one of the biggest characters. It's been the star of how many movies and 2 TV series, right?
Yeah, the ship itself has pretty much become. It's like I think that it might be the iconic spaceship,
Yeah,
even outside of the Death Star and the Millennium Falcon.
yeah.
I think it trumps them all. And over the years, it's almost developed its own personality in a way. The various versions.
I'm
You know,
sorry, I
it,
can't do that, Dave. Oh wait, no, that was a different one. Sorry.
yeah, not quite that bad, but as long as it doesn't have a holodeck in it, it's cool usually.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Enterprise has always been such a crazy design. I wonder if they've ever done like a documentary on just how they came up with that design on its own. Have they?
Yeah,
I'll have to look that up.
yeah, I'm
I'm
not
going to
sure.
have to. I want to check that out.
Yep. All right.
So yeah. Oh, the third of the rebooted franchise films, Star Trek Beyond, will premiere July 22nd of 2016, I believe.
I'm
So
excited. I want to see the new movie. But that's, like I said, that's Paramount's or whoever's doing that. So,
I haven't even seen Into Darkness. I heard so many mixed things on that. Was it worth it?
yes, I liked it. And it was a really good indicator of the alternate universe or alternate timeline thing because
Oh, okay.
there was some
So,
role reversal in there.
okay,
So,
well,
it was really good.
I'll check that one out too. I'm sure it's on Netflix still, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be. It should be. All right. Best thing in this section right here.
Yes, this is what I've been waiting on.
Ash versus the Evil Dead series premiere last week was awesome. And if you haven't seen it, you can go on Star's website. I don't remember what the Star's website address is, but you can watch the first episode for free. That's how they get you hooked. And it will if you're a fan of the original movies because I don't think they missed a step. I really don't. I was worried at first, but I was like, wow.
You're right. It's like they haven't. It's been almost 30 years, right, since Evil Dead 2, which is what they're going off of because they don't have the rights to Army of Darkness.
Right.
So they're just it's picking up after Evil Dead 2. It's been like 30 years for Bruce or Ash. They're basically the same character at this point. So yeah, it's like it's like totally in step. They didn't miss a beat with this. It's got a great mixture of their classic retro cheesiness from 2 and the old movies with some of the authentic props. With CGI might need a little bit of work, but the gore was authentic.
No,
And some
no.
actual horror moments.
No, the CGI doesn't need work. That's
Well,
that's
okay,
that's
well,
that's what I'm digging about it because it has that feel of what I used to remember,
But they didn't. Well, remember these movies were predated CGI. So
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It
yeah.
seems like they're being more faithful. I think if you have you seen the new movie?
Yes, I did.
Okay. How are the effects in that? Were those top notch?
Yeah, I guess.
Compared to this, I mean, do you notice a difference?
Yeah. Oh, I noticed a major difference.
I think it's just because they wanna echo the original series. I think that's really the main reason they're doing this or doing that way, and that's why you're kind of getting thrown off by it. But at the same time, man, can you really hate it? Seriously, that's
Oh no.
hilarious.
I really don't have any negative points on this because even like we're saying with the CGI, it's being defended because it's like retro CGI at this point, you know?
Yeah.
So it fits in with the whole aesthetic of their special effects in general
Yeah.
for the series. The one thing I did miss is I missed the fact that he's not working at S-Mart anymore, but I wish they had some kind of throwaway line that he missed it or that he wishes Value Mart hadn't bought him out or something or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, but I guess, that would have infringed on that
Yeah,
agreement for the Army of Darkness, so.
yeah. And Ash, it's amazing he's actually went this long without causing trouble since he's had the book in his trailer the entire time.
Yeah, right?
But it totally fits with the whole his logic. That he's this. He's a complete idiot. He can still get the women when he wants to, but he's some kind of idiot savant whenever the Deadites are around. He turns into this kung fu master.
His story about how he got the prosthetic hand was
Yeah.
great. And that was a perfect example of how he can just like turn it on
Yeah,
like a light switch.
absolutely. Oh man, it was brilliant. And then the scene afterwards, which we won't spoil any of that. I also like this that the tone changes depending on which characters are in the scene. If Ash is in the scene, it's more like a black comedy horror
Right.
with action sequences. But if he's not there, it's almost genuine horror with the FBI agents or whatever they were.
Those were Michigan
the
State
cops.
Troopers, yeah.
Yeah, it was like an actual horrific moment for them, But with Ash there, since he's the chosen one or whatever, that it's like the whole world warps around him.
Yeah, I think the with the police, the reason I don't think the Michigan State Police detectives actually drive around in the marked cars, but I think they did that because of that fact that it would instantly set you as, well, if you know of the Michigan State Police, then you will instantly recognize that as a Michigan State Police vehicle. They are the only police department in the United States that still uses that red beanie light. They are the only ones that have not changed to the bar lights. So.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So nice little trivia tip for you. It was totally crazy when he wasn't there. That was like super horror, and then lighthearted around him. But yeah, total idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he can't do anything. And even Sam Raimi in if you watch The Army of Darkness and listen to the commentary, and I think it's even the Evil Dead 2, they talk about how stupid Ash is unless he's fighting.
Oh yeah.
And then and even as an old man out of shape, because he mentions that, he's still able to move really quickly.
What was the line? It was I gotta do some cardio because my heart is pumping like a quarterback's heart on prom night or something like that.
He said, but first I gotta do some cardio because my heart is pounding like a quarterback on prom night.
Yeah,
I think that was it. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
that was a great line. Yeah,
it's amazing, and another thing that he can just turn on like a light switch and go right into combat and be on point and amaze people that didn't have faith in him before.
Yeah, it's absolutely great, and I was really hoping that one of the things they were going to take from the comics was that Ash, being the way he is, would be bragging about his adventures, but actually, let me take that back. Now it makes sense with them not being able to talk about Army of Darkness. It makes sense that since that was more action oriented than Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead, which were actual horror comedy. That he would almost have like a PTSD about it.
Right.
So he wouldn't want to talk about it, as opposed to the Ash in the end of Army of Darkness, which he was bragging about it all the time.
Which is, and it's funny too, because if you think about it, if you look at everything that he's wearing, was it exactly the same in 2 as it was in Army of Darkness?
Yes, they take place basically over the same night, really.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if you cut off the ending to each one of them, if you cut off the beginning of Evil Dead 2 and you cut off the beginning of Army of Darkness, it's supposed to be one long movie, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So when he switches into what he was wearing, yeah, he's basically wearing the exact same thing.
Yeah, okay.
That's like his ass kicking uniform.
Which is pretty much exactly how he looks by the time he kicks it into mode. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there are some great little quibs in there too, and if you pay attention. So, yeah, that was a good one. So, definitely check it out. Like I said, on Star's website, you can watch it, or on the Star's app on your phones and tablets. Though it doesn't stream to anything like Chromecast or anything like that. So, all right, let's get moving on to the video games. We got a couple things.
More than a couple.
Yeah, more than a couple. All right, go ahead and take the first one, because I want to beat up on the second one.
Oh yeah, you don't really know where. Five Nights at Freddy's has a new trailer out, but this is the Five Nights at Freddy's World teaser trailer. It is a RPG style game where you get to play as, or at least ally with, almost every character that's been in the games so far. You got Freddy Fazbear, Chica, Bonnie, the Mangle, Foxy, Golden Freddy, all the Phantom, all those characters. There's like 100 characters so far.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, most of them are different versions of the same characters, like Nightmare Freddy, Golden Freddy. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
A very very large cast of characters. They showed some attacks, some of the turn-based attacks, which were based around singing, throwing pizzas, jump scares, which I thought was kind of funny, and among a few other things. Five Nights at Freddy's World won't pick up where FNAF 4 left off. Cawthorn has reiterated that story is now complete. Scott Cawthorn, of course, is the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's. He says World will be a completely separate narrative. Which is, and people have asked him, well, why make it a Five Nights at Freddy's game at all? And Cawthorn has said that he wanted to keep using the characters from the series because they are so near and dear to his heart. And he says he's imagined that the fans share that same feeling, though some might be disappointed that the main FNAF horror series is officially over. I don't know. I don't know if I'll pick this up or not. I kind of enjoy the games, but I kind of don't. I wish that
I guess
the first.
I guess it depends on how it is, right? Did you play the South Park game, the South Park RPG, the last one, the Stick of Truth?
Yes, I've actually got two versions of that.
I kind of wonder if it's going to be like that. Whether with the horror touch, obviously not the South Park touch, but you know what I mean.
I don't know. We didn't see much on it really.
Okay.
We saw very little bit of gameplay. It seemed like it was taking place in a foresty area. So I don't know. As for the FNAF series, I wish he had branched out instead of being the resource management jump scare game and allowed you to explore a little bit more, which I thought finally the FNAF 4 was going to be, where you play, because it took place in your bedroom as a kid, and you had to watch the hallways behind you, your bed and your closet for monsters coming out. And I thought it was going to be, you were going to be exploring the house, trying to stay away from them.
Yeah.
Almost like the Alien Isolation hide and go seek type of thing, which would have been extremely more terrifying to me. But and another thing is Cawthorn is kind of a troll, so he might be saying that it's over, and it may not be really over. He could have them tie in, or it might have this end of revelation in the game where you're seeing things from the animatronics perspective now, and that all the because like it or not, he does pretty good at creating a atmosphere and a lore around his games, his horror games at least.
Well, that's good stuff. Yeah, and if it's near and dear to his heart, I'm sure he'll. Maybe we'll see a Five Nights at Freddy's somewhere down the line, or a 5 somewhere down the line. So.
I wouldn't be surprised. Fan demand and whatnot.
Look at how many Chucky movies have been made, and we thought that doll died in the end of what, 3, 2.
One.
One. Yeah, all of them.
Look at Freddy Krueger. Look at.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a classic horror trend these days.
Yeah.
Is to keep making the sequels.
Yeah. All right. Next thing.
You want to take this one?
Yes, I'm going to take this one.
Oh, yes.
Warner Brothers to give full refund on PC versions of Arkham Knight. I still like the Arkham Knight. I think he's badass looking. But anyways, statement from Warner Brothers is as stated. Until the end of 2015, we will be offering a full refund on Batman Arkham Knight on the PC, regardless of how long you have played the product, which, reading between the lines, means you can go buy the game and probably still get a refund before the end of the year. It's like January 1st, I think, is the cutoff. You can also return the Season Pass along with the main game, but not separately. So if you can't just keep the main game and turn the Season Pass back in. You have to turn it all back in if you want the credit for the Season Pass. For those of you that hold on to the game, this is the worst part about this statement. We are going to continue to address the issues that we can fix and talk to you about the issues that we cannot fix. And one of the issues that they cannot fix is they picked the crappiest company in the world to do the port. But anyways, I don't know why they didn't change it to, or go back to the one that they used before. So if you'd bother to fix the problems in the first place, or even do the slightest bit of QA prior to releasing, then
they wouldn't have those kind of problems.
The numbers were so low, they had, I think, 11 guys doing the coding for the port to the PC, and another like 10 or less doing the QA/QC, because they didn't want the story to get out.
I've heard horror stories like this before. If you have followed Penny Arcade's The Trenches, I think it is, where it's a comic book, or it's comic based on people's issues with being a game developer, some of these places are so terrified of the story getting out that they had a guy sit there and watch a recording of somebody play through the game, and they had to write down every time they saw bugs or issues. And they were sitting in a barn for like 12 hours a day doing that. Sometimes you have to take that risk to ensure that you have a quality product, You've got non-disclosure agreements out there. You've got all this other stuff. And these people probably value their jobs more than they value being able to gossip with people, you know?
Right.
Hopefully, I would, You've got to do better on QA, and you can't limit your teams like this. 10 people to code a port for a game of this size?
Yeah.
This isn't, Mario Brothers 1.
Well, not only that, it's the fact that the studio was so not just small in size, but small in reputation. I still want to know why they decided to go with another one. I wonder if it was just because they were cheaper or something.
That's what I was going to say. I bet you it was because they were cheaper, and you get what you pay for. And how is going cheaper paid off for you, Warner Brothers?
Yeah, exactly.
How much money have you lost on this?
I'm telling you, I'm really disappointed because now I don't even want to add it to my collection of Game of the Years that I have on the PC. It's like I will keep my Xbox One.
There's no reason it can't. There's no way this game could be Game of the Year from PC votes. There's no way. You can't even play it.
Well, Game of the Year is not necessarily a thing that's awarded anymore. It's just kind of granted. They just, call it Game of the Year and put all the Season Pass crap in there. So that's
true. Yeah, the definitive edition and all this
exactly.
Stuff.
Definitive edition has disappeared. It's been replaced with Game of the Year. So
I wonder if they're going to release. I was going to say Arkham Knight version that actually works or something. Apparently not, though. Issues they cannot fix.
What
I don't understand that. How can you not fix it?
I would be curious to see what those problems that they can't fix are. It'll be very interesting over the next weeks and months as they try to fix things, and then they start, because those things are going to be all over the internet. People are going to be watching because this is a quality slip that shouldn't. It is as bad, almost as bad as just rampant DLC stuff.
Yeah. Warner Brothers at this point might as well just pull the game from PC, give everybody a full refund, just credit the people's freaking account, even if they didn't want a refund, and just mark it off as a loss because they've screwed this up beyond fixing, I believe.
So listen here, Mr. I don't want all my games digital. You just described what can only be done in a digital world there, pal.
Yeah, well, these screw-ups were done in a digital world too, so...
Yeah.
And
all right.
They could have, and here's the thing: if they wanted to remove everybody's game, they could just The moment they connect to Steam or wherever they bought it from, they could have the fucking code. Excuse my language. You
Wow,
could have.
beep.
Yeah, they could have had the code to rip the games off of people, from people's devices.
Yeah.
So no, I don't.
Yeah. I guess that's enough on that. We've been heated on this for weeks, so uh, let's go on to some happy news.
Yay! I like happy.
The opening ceremonies were at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Pacific time for BlizzCon, and it was a pretty action-packed hour, even though they said that it was going to be 45 minutes, which, Blizzard will say it's done when it's done, so that's fine. The first thing they led off with was the Warcraft movie trailer, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was amazing. The teaser didn't do it justice. Seriously.
No, the teaser didn't do anything. I was like, okay, the teaser looks nice, but this, I was like on the edge of my seat just on the trailer alone. Can we just talk about how gorgeous it was to begin with?
Gorgeous away, sir.
Oh, well, first of all, I was sitting there and I couldn't tell, at first whether the guys were CGI'd or live action or what with the rest of the environment. Then they showed the orcs. The orcs, they look like something Jim Henson's guys would have made up with the detail in them and the way they moved. It was just absolutely perfect. I mean, the voice work was good. The action looked great. What I'm absolutely loving though right now is that it seems like it's not going to be a generic good versus evil thing. Is that both sides, from their perspectives, look like they think they're doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying?
So here's a little element. Here's a little element thing, because this is, for me, this is something that I already know what's going to happen and what comes of this, and I can't wait to see it actually unfold in movie, because I've only ever seen it in games. But the reason why you see that they think that they're doing the right things for their people is because there's a difference. And here's a picture. This is a picture of what's his face? The Lothar hopping onto his griffin. That's one picture, and him flying down onto what looks like an attack on, I'm not sure where, probably outside Stormwind, or some outpost that the Alliance is holding. And then there's a picture of Durotan, who is if you notice, he is a brown orc, and there's a difference. The brown orcs are not corrupted. The green orcs that they're fighting, which I think you see both the humans and the brown orcs fighting. The green orcs are corrupted by demon blood, which is related to the expansion later on that we'll be talking about. Their blood's corrupted, so they have their skins turned green with the fell blight. The home world of the orcs is pretty much falling apart, which is kind of what you hear them relaying in chat between the two of them. The two orcs, I think it was Blackhand and Durotan, they're talking. And so they need to find a place to go, a safe haven, if you will. And that place is Azeroth, where the humans have been in peace for quite some time. Well, with the orcs coming through, the brown-skinned orcs who are looking for a home also inadvertently also bring the evil orcs, the bad orcs, with them. So that's where you get the fighting between the two. The brown-skinned orcs, they want to make a place to live, and then the green-skinned orcs, they come through and they're wrecking stuff, and the humans do as they do with labeling, and they just figure most all the orcs are bad, so they start fighting, and a great war breaks out, and that's the basis of the first war in the Warcraft lore. So we're starting back to basically early 90s when the first Warcraft game came out. This is the story that establishes that war. So I thought it was amazing. The griffins looked great. The city that's floating that you see is Dalaran, and it used to be a purple bubble on the face of Azeroth, and it had since moved into the sky where it currently is in the movie, which is kind of neat because it looks way better in the movie than it did in the game, uh, especially with the clouds and everything.
Yeah, do you
So
think their graphics have updated Cincinnati
yeah,
somewhat?
yeah, and you know what's funny is sitting there looking at this trailer and looking at the cinematic trailer that we'll talk about later. Uh, Man, the movie is that much better, but at the same time, Blizzard ain't doing bad with their cinematics.
No, they don't. They don't do it at all.
So, yeah, it looks like it's gonna be great, and there's a subtitle to the movie I think, and I think it's called The Beginning. I think it's called Warcraft: The Beginning. I don't remember if it's widely spread or not. I'm
I
really
hope it, I
hoping
hope that's not the subtitle. It doesn't need a subtitle.
it doesn't. It's either The Beginning or Beginnings, which
Beginnings would be better. The beginning is too cliche.
it kind
This-
of it kind of gives me some hope that they if this is successful, that we'll get a sequel.
well,
And that's what I really want because the quality of this and seeing this game that I've been so involved in for 20 years come to life, it's incredible. I'm excited.
oh, can we mention that the armor the humans are wearing, at least, looks like realistic designs based off those outrageous designs, but it still you still have that Blizzard design feel, like with the
Yeah.
big shoulders
Yeah.
and stuff, but they're not insanely outrageous to be goofy. But that I'm sorry, I just wanted to point that out, that it's those kind of details that they're like almost like subtle shout outs
Well,
to
it's even with the size of the orcs when you see that
Yeah.
the alliance characters get or the alliance guards get attacked. Those orcs are like almost double their size.
yeah.
Which is really neat because people are like thinking going into this that they're gonna see the freaking J.R.R. Tolkien orcs. That's
Which
not
are
true.
the human sized.
These orcs are over embellished. They are very massive. So
You know what it
really
reminded me
like
of
that.
a lot was the Hulk design from Avengers, Incredible Hulk,
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So you've got the overwhelming sense of raw power there with these, but at the same time, they're not just mindless brutes. Well, the Fell Touch ones may be. I don't know the lore as well as you do, but there's still that with the main orc hero. You get a sense of nobility with him, and
yeah.
I don't know what this story arc's going to be with him and that female and that child, but I really hope it's not as heartbreaking as the trailer's making it out to be.
You want me to spoil
No,
that?
I don't want
Okay.
you to spoil anything. I'm going to watch the movie.
But this is something that's not really spoiling.
That's not really spoiling.
That is Durotan and his wife Draka, and that baby is Thrall.
Oh, okay.
So-
I remember Thrall.
So that'll come back later. This is like they are coming straight through the portal, and this is their story. So you're gonna get that, and that's why I said I really hope because there are. No, listen. Do you know what's going on with Star Wars right now?
Yes.
We're getting episode 7, and then we're getting a movie in between. Thrall could have his own movie in between this movie and the next one. The King in the cinematic trailer that we'll talk about later, he spent some time fighting in the orc arenas. He was captured by the orcs like for the duration of like the first expansion or so of World of Warcraft or the original game World of Warcraft. He spent time, they were using him as a pit fighter. The King of Stormwind was a
wow.
pit fighter under detention of the orcs. They were just putting him up against ridiculous situations, which is why he has those awesome scars across his face. And he actually inherited an orcish name, Logash, which I think it's the Wolf or something like that. But yeah, renowned fighter in the orcish thing. He could have his own story about that whole deal. So
Well,
there's so many ways that they could do. They could make a movie universe out of this with no problem.
Oh, the universe is there.
Yeah.
Heck, with Blizzard's trailers, they almost got everything there that they need. I mean, yes, this looks not leaps and bounds, but it looks a lot better than the Blizzard trailers that we see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it's like, here's the book. Here's everything you need to know. Just call us if you need a little bit more information.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's there. They could make a book series out of. Well, they've already got books.
Yeah.
They could make a TV show out of it. They could make countless movies, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping that. Do we have a release date for this?
June of next year.
June. I was hoping it was like January or something.
Oh, me too, man.
Jeez.
Yeah, but we got, early in the year we've got Deadpool coming up, so.
Yeah.
And besides,
Tra-
well through January will be marked by Star Wars. Remember,
yeah.
their original release date was like the same time that Star Wars was, and they moved because Star Wars was.
Because
And
Star Wars is Star Wars, and Star Wars does to other movies what WoW does to other MMORPGs.
yeah,
It picks them out of their teeth.
yeah, and we'll talk about that later too. All right, the next thing we've got is the Heroes of the Storm announcement, and for those of you that don't know, Heroes of the Storm is the equivalent of like Dota 2 and League of Legends, which is they're called MOBAs, and it is oh gosh, MOBA. It's like
Oh,
multiplayer online battle arena, and basically what it is a terrain map where there are multiple player versus environment goals to try and defeat the other team's base. And during that fight, you also have the heroes fighting each other, and it can get pretty exciting. There's some good matches, especially from the qualifying one of the qualifying matches from last weekend. One of the last top spots. I'll have to send you the video for that. Best 20 minutes of a game I've ever seen. But anyways, you control your own character or your own hero, and there's 5 to a team and all that good stuff. And you fight back and forth. There's a new battleground coming for it called Towers of Doom, and it has an interesting new format to where the players can't actually attack the other team's core is what it's called in the
core.
game. Core. So their home base. It has to be done by way of the events that are taking place on the battle map. They also have a new game mode, which is called Arena. All characters will be used in it because normally in these types of games you have to pay for a character to use it or whatever with in-game gold or cash. In this mode, it'll be a single lane, which is basically, just puts them on a single path. You have to fight back and forth. It forces player versus player interactions for big fights. And basically what happens is at the beginning of each match, each player on the team will be presented with 3 options to pick, and similar to a draft mode where they'll be able to look to see what the other players are picking and then try and make an educated pick from their 3. And just go head to head with the other team. It forces more action PvP, which is yet another good thing for. I don't know if it's really set for esports as much as just trying to get players used to trying to mesh with other team members and see what works. So, and then they announced three heroes. Greymane, the leader of the Worgen. Where'd the rest of them go? Holy
I
crap.
don't know. I've only seen that one.
Yeah, Greymane, the leader of the Worgen, who's in the center here. He gets in when he gets into combat. He'll turn into a Worgen most of the time, which is a big wolf. Lunara, which is the daughter of Cenarius. She's like a hippie tree magic kind of person. And then the last thing that they announced was there is going to be a character. It'll be a single avatar. It has 2 heads. His name is Cho'Gall. He is a famous raid boss. He will be controlled by 2 characters. Or 2 players.
That's going to be interesting right
It would
there.
be very interesting. And even more interesting is the way that it'll spread throughout the game. People that purchase the virtual ticket, which I'm really tempted to do just to get this guy, will be able to select the character, and other players throughout the world. Oh, it's people that bought the virtual ticket, people that are attending BlizzCon, and a very select few random participants out in the world will get the opportunity to use this character, and other players can opt in to use it as well with them. And after they complete so many matches with another person, they will unlock the character. So it'll be kind of like a spreading thing.
Oh,
And the people
like
that
a viral thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
and when
it's cool.
people use them, the people that actually own the character, when they get other people brought into the fold, they'll get a bag of gold to use to purchase other characters and skins and stuff as well. So it's kind of like a reward system for using the character and letting other people get a chance to use it as well. So it's a neat
Okay,
reward
so
system.
let me ask you a question. So, say you own the character, and
Yep.
and you pulled me to play with you,
Yep.
and we played enough, and so I unlocked the character. You would get gold, but then since I own the character, if I pulled somebody else in,
Yep.
would I get a bag of gold too?
Yep.
Oh,
So a chain reaction and incentivizing the spread of that character. So it's really neat. It's a neat little thing to do. And I'm sure he'll get spread.
yeah, I
He'll get
actually,
spread pretty quick.
yeah, he's going to get spread real quick. There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
There's achievements and trophies that work very similar to that. That you can only get the trophy if somebody else has it, and you're playing online with them.
Right.
It usually starts out with the developers. They're playing online, and they already have the trophy unlocked.
Right.
So yeah, I love that. I love that kind of concept. It's a little hard to do on certain consoles and certain games because eventually their servers go down. But with this being Blizzard, I mean,
It's
when
not
they
going
go, they're never going to shut down. Really,
I really got to get you to play this with me one time. Maybe one time when you're over again, just to try.
Yeah, yeah, just to get me addicted to it. I've got a very addictive personality on all things geeky.
Well, it's semi-free.
I need a
so
rehab.
We'll see. All right, the next thing, the Hearthstone expansion, the League of Explorers was announced, and the League of Explorers is because Hearthstone's based on the World of Warcraft, or it's called Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft. The League of Explorers is a group that in the Warcraft world, they're an adventuring / archaeology group. So they go out and they find strange relics, and they're the reason why one expansion ago technically, we got this. Well, no, it is 2 expansions ago. We got the archaeology skill, which you go around to different sites and you get these lore objects, and you get the story behind. You get more history in the world of Warcraft. So it's really neat. It's a really neat thing to get, and you get rewarded for it and all that. Some things are worth money, some things aren't, stuff like that. Anyways, they'll have a bunch of different character cards that are based on those characters that are involved in the League of Explorers. I would assume like Harrison Jones and a couple of the other main characters in the group. The expansion will be an adventure, so it's a single player playthrough. You play against the sometimes overwhelming odds of an NPC deck. So it's kind of like one of those that it's stacked against you, and it's more like a puzzle than a actual Hearthstone match, which is it's actually a lot of fun because you have to kind of anticipate, and as you go through, you can retrim your deck to make sure that you can counter certain things until you learn how to play it and win. And there's usually for each boss, there's usually 2 cards that you unlock that you can use in regular play. So that's a neat little thing. And they release it in wings just like they do their raids. So the first wing will actually be released on November 12th, so next Thursday. And then the crowd went wild when the next thing came on stage, when they started talking about Overwatch. And I know you were kind of curious.
Yes.
You were kind of curious as to how this was going to work. And one of the big things that came out the night before was that it will be available on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4, and all in the spring of next year. The price for the digital copy for the PC will be $40, and this is what I thought was very interesting. The price on the console will be $60.
Well, here's my thing about that. If it's going to be a disc for the console as opposed to a digital purchase, that makes sense, and I'm cool with that. And I'm actually liking that because I see this like back and forth is that you can buy the disc for $60, but then you go online to purchase just a digital copy, and it's $60 as well. So it's nice to see that you're getting a digital copy for cheaper, because you should be getting it for cheaper because you're not buying a physical, item. It didn't cost to make a disc.
Right.
That's nothing on me.
That's what we're always hoping for digitals, is a little bit cheaper price. So
It's absolutely deserved.
I didn't put it on here, but there will also be an Origins edition, which they didn't. I don't think they put the price up, but it will include 5 skins for special skins for characters that are related to their background, the history of the character before they became a hero, which is kind of neat. So you get a little backstory and a different skin to use as a character. And in addition, when you buy the game, you will get all the characters and all the maps. The skins will be the cosmetic things will be the things that you purchase afterwards.
Hopefully they're not like $50 for us. Five
No.
skins or some crap.
The on Heroes of the Storm, they're like between $5 and $10, and they're not really. But some of them you can buy with gold too, so they're not really.
Okay.
Like I said, it's not really something that's going to change the game, and actually, some of the Heroes of the Storm stuff really isn't that impressive, anyways. It's better just to play with the main skin, anyways. You're already paying enough for the character if you pay cash, so.
Yeah.
But Heroes of the Storm also rotate sales, which is also good. So usually you catch characters from less than $5, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's good.
But anyways, on Overwatch, like I said, the skins will probably be the extra money. There was no word on extra maps or whether they'd start charging for maps or not at that point. But they are adding another map, and we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, so there's the Origins, which gives you those backstory skins for 5 characters. But then there's also, which I'm hoping to get, is the collector's edition, which will be like pretty much every other Blizzard expansion that's a collector's edition. It has an artwork book and stuff like that. But this one also has a 12.6-inch statue of one of the characters. And my wife really wants to get it.
Hey, well, at least it's her this time, not you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to really justify it.
Well, on top of that,
I guess I'll let you get this, honey.
On top of that, too, they sweeten the pot because that also comes with items for other games in the Blizzard world, too. So, like a mini pet for, the big monkey, Winston, the big ape in this game. He's in there in the picture. He's got armor on, but
wait, is this
for Overwatch? There's the
man.
There's a mini,
okay.
So you get a mini pet. You'll get the Tracer hero for Heroes of the Storm.
Well, no, my thing is now I've got to buy another collection edition, and I know I shouldn't, but I want to play this game, and now it's on consoles. If they make a collection edition for the consoles, I'm such a hypocrite.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, 3 new heroes. We'll go through these real quick, and they're out of order. Great. The first one is this one's Diva. It's D.VA. Diva. She's driving. Yeah, right. She's driving a mech. There was some gameplay shown of her shooting her cannons and stuff. May, who is a freeze-based science type character, it looks like, which is kind of neat. She was able to put up like frozen walls that people couldn't get over, and yeah, it was neat, and it was able to freeze them in place and then pick them off as they were stuck in the ice, slowed, trying to get across it. And then at the end of her little vignette was Genji, who is a robot ninja, and also Hanzo, the guy with the bow, his brother, which is kind of neat.
Spoiler.
So that there inherently you get some backstory too between the two of them, I'm sure. This is kind of neat. And then they released information on a new map, which is called Hollywood, which will be on the streets of Hollywood and then into the backlot areas of different genres. Like there was a Western area and a sci-fi area with aliens and spaceships and stuff. It was kind of funny. So that was kind of neat too. I'm really excited about the game. I really hope I get a beta invite eventually, just to try it, just to get some gameplay in. And then finally, the last thing they did was the World of Warcraft Legion cinematic. And what did you think about that, man?
Well, it wasn't quite as pretty as the movie one, but man, it looked really good. It was, I mean, it had the guy you were talking about, the king,
Yep.
King
King.
Varen,
Yep.
and he had his compass up, man. It looked good. And then I saw he had the picture of the woman. I was like, oh, he
That
better
was
not die before this trailer's out.
that was his
But
son.
then after you told me his name, I remembered that he was some kind of badass. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, it looked great. It's got pirates in it and sky pirates. I mean, how can you go wrong with that, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it was really neat because even the detail, even on this picture, even though it's kind of grainy because I took a screenshot from the video, you can see that slash I was talking across his nose and under his eyes. Yeah,
Yeah, like they're starting to fade a little
yeah,
bit and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They did such an incredible job with the graphics on this, and though the big thing that I was excited to see was um, you got to see all the stuff in the background of the invasion from the Burning Legion coming into the Broken Isles, and that's where they're flying over in the airships trying to get towards. You get a little bit of a reversal in the speech that you hear from King Rin in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion during the cinematic trailer. You heard King Tyrannus talking highly of Arthas, who becomes the Lich King. So go from
Uh-uh.
doing such a great speech about a good person into him being a terrible person in the future, and now this with King Varian after so much combat and aggression in the past story, to finally seeing that his son was right and that cooler heads should prevail and that peace is an option. But he then breaks into the but to protect peace, you have to do, or you have to man up and do what you're supposed to do. And then finally, the best thing ever was being able to see Sylvanas Windrunner in a cutscene. You've never seen this before, and man, she was pretty badass. She is the leader of the undead, and she appears in the in this cinematic and saves Varian, which because she lives like 3 or 4 zones north of the city of Stormwind, the capital city of Stormwind. It's always an uneasy kind of thing, the undead versus the living. And she's kind of been a pain in the ass in the past. But it's nice to see them dropping their rivalry to focus on the greater evil. And that's kind of the thing that you get from Varian after he comes out of the water and gives out that battle cry of for Azeroth. So an uneasy alliance, I'm sure, and I'm sure they'll be infighting. And supposedly, Chris Metzen also said during the opening, Chris Metzen's the lore master for Warcraft, all things Warcraft. Everything that gets put into those games has to go through his desk. He's indicated that she will be a major force in the expansion. And with some uneasy undertones, I'm sure that there'll be some strife.
I mean, nobody likes undead people,
Right.
So it makes sense. But yeah, that just seems like what happens to Azeroth is that they start off simple. Okay, well these guys are obviously evil. Then this other party comes in. Well, these guys are more evil than the ones we were fighting before. So it's just like a massive spiral for them that they are always having to join forces with their last enemy to enable to take over their new enemy.
A vicious.
So I wonder if we're going to
cycle.
Yeah, it does seem like it's almost like Warhammer, but with I was going to say, but with magic. But Warhammer has magic too, doesn't it?
It's like Fallout.
Warhammer 40K, obviously.
Oh, do you not know the story about that?
Which one?
The fact that Blizzard was originally making the Warhammer 40K RTS back in the 90s, and yeah.
No, I know that.
I don't know if
that's
we mentioned that on the show.
Yeah.
That fell through because Games Workshops was getting stingy with their money. So Blizzard decided to say, "Hey, let's do it on our own and make this game," and they made money hand over fist compared to Game Workshop, I'm sure.
Yeah. Workshop's games don't at least their video games don't do it quite as well as Blizzard's been doing. Still a strong base on their tabletop stuff. And I would like to get into Warhammer 40K, but I don't have $1,200 or so laying around to buy the basic sets.
Right. Well, the good news is in the summer of 2016, you'd be able to get into Warcraft Legion for only $49.99.
Only.
Yeah,
Only.
summer 2016. It's earlier than the fall launches they usually do, so it's kind of ahead of schedule. I would have expected it to be ready like, I don't know, March or April, but beggars can't be choosers.
You think they would have pushed it up? They might be pushing it up because of the movie.
Yeah, that's well, but they've always been trying to strive for like a year in between expansions, so
Yeah.
they're getting there slowly. So, but I think you had something you had to add to this.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to be real, but with all this Blizzard talk, apparently WoW subscriber numbers have been going down some. They're down to 5.5 million, which is still a lot of people. And and Activision has stated that they will no longer report subscriber numbers, which is, I don't know, that doesn't do confidence to me, or screwed confidence. But anyways, so Activision Blizzard revealed that World of Warcraft numbers are currently sitting around 5.5 million subscribers. That's down 100,000 subscribers from the company's second quarter, meaning WoW has seemingly simmered down to its hardcore player base, which that's a big player base. Around 5 million looks to be WoW's new home for the foreseeable future, not counting spikes from expansion releases. With these numbers, Activision Blizzard has also said it won't be reporting subscriber numbers in the future earnings releases. Here's a quote. Note that this is the last quarter that we plan to provide subscriber numbers, the company said during a morning investors Q&A, according to GameSpot. There are other metrics that are better indicators for the overall Blizzard business performance. Those metrics will be based on engagement, meaning Blizzard will be able to potentially spin the numbers in a positive direction. Big business and shareholders require that numbers always go up, not down. So Activision is looking to blur WoW's performance by switching things up. So apparently no other MMO reports their numbers either for the same reason. So it's not like this is a whole new thing. And this is like business 101 really.
Well, one of the other things too that they probably take into consideration that they'll be using as the new metric is a lot of the microtransaction stuff that they've added in. And nothing detrimental to the game. The catch-ups for leveling up, like you can buy a max level character, or not max level, but 10 below the current max, so that people actually can play with their friends and stuff like that. Because listen, we're going to level 110 in the next expansion. 100 levels is really hard to get through. I highly recommend it to do it for the lore if you really like reading through that stuff. But if you're just getting into play with friends, it's not really necessary. You kind of get the gist of what's currently going on, and that's usually what people are concerned with. But things like the mounts and the mini pets, especially one of the other things they announced during the opening ceremonies was the new charity pet is like a mana dog or something like that, a mana pup. It's like, I think it's either purple or blue. It's a little pup, but all the proceeds from that pet go to charity, like Red Cross or whatever. Like the last time they really did it was the Cinder Kitten from Cataclysm. Everything went to the Japanese relief. The
tsunami.
Was it the tsunami or the plant meltdown?
Well, the plant meltdown happened because of the tsunami.
Yeah. So tsunami relief.
Basically the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So things like that. I mean that garnered a lot of money. They got a lot of money for that charity for Red Cross. So.
I will say this though. Even though we're still looked down upon, gamers are probably one of the most generous groups out there. We will donate money to just about anything, You can't
go a weekend without seeing a 24 hours for charity stream through what's that one, something wings?
I'm not sure about that one, but I know JonTron one time he did a marathon of playing through Banjo-Kazooie for every hour that he didn't have the game beat, he donated $100, and people donated to watch, and and he ended up getting over $25,000 for Teach for America.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that was over 6 or 7 hours. I think I don't remember how long his playthrough lasted. It didn't last that long, of course, because otherwise he'd be out a lot of money. But so we're very generous people. So all these charity things is great.
Right.
Back to the subscriber numbers, it also could make a sense in shifting to reporting on engagement as opposed to just general numbers, because the crowd that really started with WoW is getting older and can't do the constant play anymore. Unfortunately, wish we could, but we can't really do that. We got to actually work and spend time with our loved ones.
So I've been playing this game for over 10 years now too. So
yeah. So I mean, listen, we were talking about this before the show. Is that we had friends cancel on us because they had raids scheduled.
Yeah. Those are some crazy hardcore players.
Yeah, and you can't really do that these days. You can't call your boss, but well, I've got this raid scheduled at 12, so I'm going to have to just work half a day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So.
And like you posted in here, it could be a modesty move, but I don't think it. Since the next highest MMO only has 1 million subscribers.
I think it's. I think it's either EverQuest or Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
So
I think it's one of those.
But yeah, there's nobody close. They're so far beyond. It's crazy to even consider.
Well, that's what we were saying earlier, is that WoW picks their competition out of their teeth. There's nobody that can match them. Just the same reason nobody wants to go up against a Star Wars movie, and within the 3 months or after it gets released, it's because it's going to devour them. Whether it's good or bad, it's going to just eat the competition alive.
Yeah,
that's a suicide note for whatever movie you put out and whatever game you put out. Nobody puts out games around WoW expansions.
Yeah,
I don't think, not many.
Oh well, they may now, but back in the day, no, there wasn't much. I mean, look at nobody wants to put a movie out from December to February.
No, they don't.
So. All right, well, that's all we got. Hopefully you enjoyed the little bit of coverage from BlizzCon, because that was kind of long-winded, but hey, I want to make sure we got that out there. Thank you for listening, and please leave us feedback on our episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, and anywhere else you can get our podcast from. And like, share, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, where we are currently talking to you.
You can contact us at ECG_podcast on Twitter, at our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/ECGpodcast, or our email address at ecgpodcast@gmail.com. Also, please visit our webpage, www.stasisgeek.com. Or like Jimmy said, post a comment. We'll probably read it, because reading is good. Reading is fundamental.
Right. And we'll be back next week. Until then, stay geeky.